Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first of several Monday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time seminars. Thank you to those of you who showed up for the live version. And I'm recording this so that if you were not able to join us live and get your questions answered personally, that at least you can see the recording and hopefully get some tips that will help you succeed as we head. It happens every year, and I can't say it enough. I'm even amazed at how fast this semester has gone. It seems like yesterday, Dr. Ulrich and I were just planning to get started, and here we are. I was going to say mid-October, but we're getting into late October, and before we know it, it's going to be Thanksgiving and then winter break. So to set us up for success, I'd like to answer some questions that have come in via email and text, and also via your meetings with Dr. Ulrich about the blogs and how you can make the best use of them, and also exactly how you can get course credit and set yourself up, whether you're interviewing for a winter break job or already thinking about life after graduation. So, Dr. Ulrich, I'm getting a message. Could I unmute you? I don't have you on mute. Do you have you on mute? I just put me on mute, but I didn't mute anybody else. I'll show you the difference here. Mute, and then I'm now asking you to unmute. Yep, so you did it on your end, so now you're unmuted. On the bright side, does that mean that you can hear me? Okay, got a question coming in from Kevin. Kevin, the beautiful thing about open source learning and the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy is the answer to that question is yes. As long as you are within range of a signal, and most importantly, you have an agreement with Dr. Ulrich that you are keeping to, as far as I can see. And of course, it would be great if Dr. Ulrich could bring in this question as well, if she can hear us. It's okay to be wherever you need to be. So one of the questions that's come up, and this year is operating a little bit differently. It's operating a lot differently because we have a different batch of people in the group. So last year, some of our students were the same, but most of them were different. And obviously this year, Dr. Ulrich is your first point of contact when it comes to your course credit and when it comes to the agreements that you make about completing your course assignments. The thing that's similar, though, is that open source learning and the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy responds to each set of circumstances. So by design, it's functioning and looking a little bit differently this year than it did last year. One of the things that's come up is that students are asking Dr. Ulrich, hey, how is it again that I get credit for my coursework? Well, it's great whether you're on Khan Academy or Newsela or any of the other platforms and products that you're using online to show that you're learning and mastering new skills. That's awesome. The place where you demonstrate that, the place where you own your own information, is on your own website through the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy. So let's go through a couple of reminders really quickly so that we're all on the same page digitally and theoretically, because one of the things I'm noticing is that you may have some terrific stuff going on, but me not being in those conversations with you and Dr. Ulrich, I can't necessarily see them. So when I share my screen, I'm going to go to the homepage for the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy. And now I'm going to go to the member sites. When I look at somebody's blog, let's play spin the okay, Kevin's here, so we'll pick on Kevin. And by that, I mean give Kevin all sorts of respect and credit, bruh. So Kevin's got some really great design. That's the first thing I've always noticed about his blogs, and that's great because he's in marketing. So when I go here, I'm seeing his categories, some of them, but this is the magic when it comes to course credit. When I go to his academic menu dropdown, I can see exactly what he's agreed to try and get credit for this semester. And if I click on any one of these, I should be able to see what he's doing. Oh, uh-oh. Hey, Kevin, what's going on in algebra? What have you been up to recently? And feel free to put it in the chat, but if you do, put it to everyone, not just me, so Dr. Ulrich can read it too. Kevin, are you with us? Ah, okay. So the response for those of you paying attention at home, if you're watching this after the fact, I forgot I had to post my things there. Kevin, thank you so much for being honest. Guess what? You're not alone. And that might seem like, well, hey, if I already did it in one place, why do I have to do it here? There's actually a very simple answer. We own this space. In fact, when it comes to your blog, this, when I show this on the screen, this is all Kevin. Nobody can take this away from Kevin. Unlike, Kevin, where did you do the work? Was it Khan Academy or was it somewhere else? Okay, so whether it's Khan Academy or any of the other websites that you use, we don't own that digital real estate. So if somebody deletes it, if the website goes out of business, if you use your username or password, and I said loser instead of user on purpose, I'll explain that in a minute. There's nothing that we can do about that. Whereas here, this is our territory and this is your stuff. So for example, if you want to demonstrate that you've got course credit and Dr. Ulrich decides to take a vacation and she decides she likes being on vacation so much that she just kind of forgets to come back, and you have to convince the new teacher, hey, wait a second, no, for real, I did this stuff. Where are they going to find it? This is your portfolio. So job one today is to remind ourselves that no matter what we do and where else we do it, it really only counts if we own it. It really only counts if we put it in a place where we can show it off. If I've got the best stuff in the world, but I don't know where to find it, and somebody's counting on me to show them, that's a problem. So if I do an assignment someplace else, it can be as simple as sharing a screenshot. It can be as simple as copying and pasting. It can be as simple as putting up a couple of lines like, hey, today I learned how to do an equation to find the area under a curve. Or today I learned a little bit more about photosynthesis, and at first I was really confused, but then I figured something out. However you want to represent what you're doing in your day. You know, I post every single day, and this hasn't changed since last year. Every single day, I post an agenda and journal topics, and we have opportunities for mental and I can click on any one of these, and I guarantee you there's something about mental and physical fitness. Look at that right there. So every single day, you have been given reminders to post on your blogs. And when I look at some of these, you are slamming it. You guys are awesome. Just to point out some highlight Hall of Fame reel worthy people. Sam Rivas, you are killing it. And I love to see what you're doing on your blog. And some people are in the middle, and some people just kind of like, I can't really tell what happened. So now that we're heading into November, it's time to dust off some of those skills. And they might be thinking, well, all right, but I think I'm doing good enough. Like my report card was okay. That's great. And I love that. But let's also remember this style of learning is not just about points, percentages, grades, or report cards. This is designed for you to build the skills that you need for the next level. I'm not concerned about this level. You've already been in and out of school for what, 10, 12 years? If you don't have it down by now, you ain't gonna. But what I am thinking about is how you take what we're doing now and use it to convince people to give you the opportunities that you want later. That starts with being able to swim your way around all this digital water we call the internet. So job number one, post. Post, post, post. And you've heard me on this before. Some of you are like, oh yeah, I remember this from last year. Yep, hasn't changed. Post. Now I mentioned taking a screenshot and posting. If I want to take a screenshot, and Kevin, I know you're on mute, so ordinarily I would just ask you to walk us through this, but if, I'll say, or a picture, and I've gotten this question from a few people, To me, this stuff seems pretty straightforward because I've been at it for a long time and it's not hard. But I also recognize that not everybody has the same level of experience. And some of this might be new. Some of it might even be frustrating. Like today, a couple of us had audio problems, or we don't have the best internet connection at home, maybe. So no matter where you are, I want you to know that there is a process to do these things. And I am totally happy to spend extra time with anybody who needs help. Okay. And so Kevin, thanks for the direct message. Kevin says, sorry, I'm using a hotspot right now and it's laggy. Hey, we've all got stuff like that that happens once in a while. In fact, my cursor is doing funny things. Okay, for a picture. So let's say I want to include a picture. I'm going to press this plus sign right here where it says add block. All right, pretty straightforward. I'm going to add a block. Guess what I'm going to click if I want to add an image? Image. Now, if I already have something uploaded, and I've got quite a bit of things uploaded because I've been at this for a while, but if I've been doing that, fine. But let's assume that I don't. Let's assume that I've got to select a file for my computer. So now I'm just going to click select files. And I'm just going to click the first one that I see. Oh, that's going to be a memory inducing picture for some of you. I'm going to add this one to my media folder. Hope that it works. Sometimes it goes slow. Some of you might recognize that picture. That's Santa Maria High School. It's an exceptionally pretty picture that I took myself. And now I'm going to publish it. That's it. That's all I have to do. Publish. Now I'm going to view the post. And that's all there is to it. So, not to take our time live right now, what I'm going to do after this call is over is I'm going to add to this post. And what I'm going to put on it is the step-by-step of what I just described. So open a post. I did it by going to new. If you're not sure how to open a post, let's go back to basics. I'll go right back to, if I'm trying to figure out where I need to go to sign in, let's go all the way back to basics 101. I'm going to look at my blog. In this case, I'm going to pick Kevin's blog. So I'm going to go to his URL, which is just your first and last name dot SMOSLA 2023 for most of you. Kevin's 2022 because he started last year. .osl.academy. Now to sign into your dashboard, after your URL, it's /wp dash admin for admin. And when I click on that, I get to my login. Now this is automatically doing it with my login. And since I have godlike powers, I can log into Kevin's dashboard. So, but I won't save it though. And now that I'm in my overall dashboard, I'll go to posts. I can either go directly to add new, or I can see all my posts. Kevin's got a bunch. Now, when I see this many posts, I'm just going, look at all this stuff. This guy's got so much going on. And Kevin, all of your categories are personally meaningful. I'm happy about that. I'm glad that they mean something to you personally. I also want them to count for things in ways that people can see. So be mindful when you do your posts, and we'll practice with this one that I'm about to create. I'm going to say add new. And when Kevin does a post, Kevin, which course do you want this to count for? You don't have anything for algebra, so how about that? Let's see, I gotta raise up my chat window. Okay, yeah, all right. Post I'm getting help with for algebra. This post, this very post you're reading right now is going to be so mind-blowingly algebraic. I don't even know if I'm spelling that right, Kevin. Am I? Algebraic? that it's going to literally, wait, are you even wearing socks? Well, you get the point. For now, it's just a placeholder. Now, I'm doing this on purpose, both because I like amusing myself and Dr. Ulrich, and we're kind of bored sometimes, but also, this is just as important. If I just wrote this in English, I can count it for more than one topic. Yeah, I'm going to want it to count for algebra, but you're going to need to add to that later because there's nothing algebra in here yet. But when I go down to categories, I'm looking at a couple things. Oh, and this is where your thing got compromised. Obviously, I'm assuming that this is not your category, Kevin. So this is where we're going to talk security in a minute. Yeah, I get it. Don't sweat it. And we're recording this live. So obviously, if you're watching the categories, know this. Here's an example of a designer. Kevin used a blog that was not part of our design template. And when he went outside, he picked a blog template that looks cool, but it also had security leaks. And those security leaks meant that something or someone got in and started tinkering with his blog in ways that he did not intend. That's why, Kevin, I just sent you a new login to reset your password. That was from Martin. Instead of just cutting it out and starting over for you, we wanted to teach you what you're going to need to do. So the first step is redo your password. But let's go back to our conversation about the categories. So we're going to take out all these categories that don't belong, but let's find algebra. Do you have math in here? Is that what it's under? Jeez, this is awful. All right, tell you what, just to save us time, I'm going to put this under 21st century English for now. And here's the reason this becomes important. When I go to your URL, so now we're looking at the blog like anybody would see it. And okay, I didn't see these, so I'm going to go back in. I will personally hand tailor your categories so that we get this dialed for you. But I do want you to use that new password link because you're clearly going to need it. So this is interesting. So you don't have 21st century. I should have put this under English 1B. Let me go back a step. I'm going to take the extra time and do this because I really want to show you why it's important. So if I go back to categories and now I'm going to go find English 1B. Here we go. And now I'm going to update this. And now I'm going to visit your site. And now I'm going to go to English 1B. And under English 1B, we should see, oh, we got a few. This is great. So you have been categorizing some of these. Oh, I see. These are from spring semester. So when this repopulates, you'll see the post that I just created in that category. And when you go back and start looking at these, because you've done a ton, if you've done anything that you think qualify, you can see how I put in these categories. If any of these things qualify, or if you've done work somewhere else that you want to take a screenshot of or do the things I just suggested a few moments ago, just go ahead and update the categories. So if I go to the journal for October 12th, and I'll just tinker with one more so that you can see it. And I go into, it says block, and then it says post. I want to click on post, and then down here, categories. And if it's not selected for a dropdown, I want to click it. And this is where I have my choices. Now, obviously, Kevin's got way too many choices. But if I go to a different blog, let's say, here, I'll pick my old one that I started for OSL. Maybe if I can find it. Here we go. Now, I decided not to keep this one up this semester because I felt like nobody was reading it anymore. But when I was, I would choose different categories and they would look a whole lot more like the selections that most of you have now. Just a few of them. and most of them have to do with your academic coursework. So far, just to recap, we've covered the fact that you definitely need to post on your blog. That was given to you through the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy. That's an absolute must, both for your academic course credit, but also so that you have something to share with people who weren't here in the moment that you made the agreements or did the work. People need to be able to see how wonderful you really are. That's one way to show them. So post. The second thing is we talked about how to post pictures. The third thing is we talked about how to use the categories that you have in your academic dropdown. Categories are just a fancy way of saying these are the courses that you're already enrolled in for this term. You want credit? Tag the post with the course. The beautiful thing is, let's say you write a journal, but you're thinking about math that day because of an experiment you did while you were exercising. Great. Now you've got English, math, science, and PE. Tag it all. One post, 4 different pieces of course credit, and you and Dr. Ulrich can look at it. If it's one sentence, maybe it's not that much course credit, but if you wrote a slammin' post, maybe it's full assignment worth course credit for all 4 of those courses. Those of you who know me know my philosophy on this. We're here to help you learn. We're not here to make your life more difficult unnecessarily. I'm here to make your life just difficult enough, though, so that you get better at what you're doing. Now, part of that is life only happens subject by subject in one place. That's school. Everywhere else, everything is connected all the time. So the meaning that you make of that and how you think about it is actually a really important practice. Everybody in your life will value how you see opportunities and how you solve problems. And that work starts right here with us. I'm going to pause here and answer a question from the chat. The Khan Academy and Reading Plus progress on your blog. Yes, if you post it on your blog, you will get course credit for that. And sometimes you'll get more course credit in the event that you're doing something that you forgot to describe to Dr. Ulrich or she didn't see on her own. If it's on your course blog, bam, we get to see it right away, and you will get course credit for that. While I'm pausing in this moment, Dr. Ulrich, I don't know if your audio is working. Is there anything that you wanted to add, or Kevin, is there anything that you want to ask? Oh no. Maybe the problem's on my end with your mic. Kevin, can you unmute for a second and just blurt something so I know that you're...
Hi.
Hey, that was wonderful. Don't quit your day job, though, for the singing career. But Catherine, I still can't hear yours, darn it. How's your typing? Do you want to put something in the chat? Okay, great, Kevin. I'm glad you're on that path with the blog. That's going to help a lot. And from Ireland, I just got a message. Excellent. So, Catherine, I'm going to text you because I'm not that good a lip reader. Kevin, is there any other technical element of the blog that you've been working with, or? Oh, okay, got it. So we'll work out the glitch on your new system, I hope soon. Okay, Kevin, glad to know it. Kevin, let me ask you a different question, because I had this in mind to cover today, but I also know that, oh, great to know. Kevin, I'm glad you're doing a lot of work. It looks like you're making a great impression. The question that I was going to ask may not apply to you directly, Kevin, but I am curious. Next week, I've gotten some feedback on different topics worth covering. Some of the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy students are just great at being self-motivating and getting stuff done. Other people either have a lot competing for their attention and their time, or they haven't quite sorted out how best to organize their day for their success. And so that's one topic that came up. And even though we talked about it for those of you last year, we haven't really talked about it together this year. So that's one option. Another option is we've talked about resume and getting job search stuff together for the upcoming holiday season and life after high school. That's an option. We've also talked about things like how people make connections and network. And this can become important because everybody that I know who goes to the gym or participates in sports has at least one coach, one friend, one colleague that they can sometimes get a pat on the back or a kick in the butt from. And it matters that somebody else is sharing their experience. So one of the things that I know can be difficult about working in this way, it's great to have the flexibility and work from home, but sometimes we don't have those connections that really help us feel like somebody's aware that we're here, except for the weekly meetings with Dr. Ulrich, of course. So one thing that we talked about was creating some breakout rooms in an upcoming session and getting people to meet with one another, at least enough to know who they are. And that way, if there's ever a need or a question and you can't get a hold of one of us, or sometimes it's just better to talk to somebody closer to your own age, that could be a really good option for us as well. So we're going to be looking at all of those possibilities and more. I'll put up a little poll on the Santa Maria Open Source Learning Academy website. If anybody has a strong preference, or if you're looking for something that I didn't mention, but you're really interested in it, whether it's personal finance, whether it's how to manage conflict, I'm thinking about some of the things that we talked about last year, but I'm open. So please do let me know. And thank you for the chat note about making connections. It's not only good to have friends in this course who know what you're doing, it's also a life skill. Nobody gets through this life alone. And as lucky as many of us are to have family and friends, sometimes we need to know the experts in our fields. Sometimes we need to know the people with the business who have the opportunity that we really want, and being able to introduce ourselves. Something as simple as just getting to know another person and making a friend where one didn't previously exist is actually a life skill all by itself. And I made some of my best friends in kindergarten just walking up dumb lucky and going, "Hey, I'm David, want to be friends?" That can work. But as we get older, we get a little bit more complicated in terms of our personalities. And there are some good things to know about that I'll be happy to share. So with all that being said, we're a little bit half past the hour. Kevin, why don't we hang out after the recording stops so that I can make sure that you've got what you need for Martin and resetting your password and taking next steps. I'm chatting with him from Ireland on my phone while we speak. And Dr. Ulrich, is there anything that you'd like to put in the chat before we go? Okay, well, it's interesting. I don't know, maybe next time you could do like the white face paint with the black eyeliner for the mime thing and do that whole. I'm waiting to see if you're typing before I cut the recording. I think we know some people like that, but okay. Well, a big part of technology is rolling with the unexpected. And Dr. Ulrich and I have more practice than most, but sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes it's amusing, and it's always a learning experience. So thank you for watching. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us live. I look forward to next Monday, and please do put this on your calendar. I'm looking very much forward to our next set of topics. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to cut the recording now.